Next series here, Monsanto versus Empanizado. Now, Monsanto is guaranteed relegation bracket,
Yes.
but he has the opportunity to improve his division standings from 8th to 7th place, giving him one additional series chance to avoid relegation.
It's a big deal.
And that is a huge deal for these guys.
Yeah, giving yourself that one extra match can mean the difference between getting another season of Hearthstone Grandmasters or having to try to re-qualify, which nobody wants to do. So
Exactly.
still, despite the fact that he's going to relegation, no matter what, at least he can put himself in a better spot. Here are the decks he's bringing today. Bringing the Galacron Rogue. So our first Rogue of the day, coming from Monsanto.
Yeah, first Rogue of the day, and Rogue's been a deck that I think a lot of people like, although, again, I'm still a little sketched out by whether or not Rogue can get there successfully or consistently. If you watch Europe, it seems like it can. If you watch America, it seems like it can't. So I am kind of divided on my opinion, because I wonder if it's like a play style difference, like player diff, or if it's something about the deck lists that I'm not really understanding.
Maybe a bit of both. Empanizado bringing a rogue as well. But I like the options that the rogue deck gives you a little bit more than the options, say, like Druid would give you. Seems like you're more flexible at more points in the game with, cheaper mana options with all the different things lackeys can do for you. That's part of it too. If it might just be a little bit of like lackey luck that's helping Europe perform a little bit better with the rogue. You never know.
Yeah, and we might see that come into play in this series. But we're going to start things off what looks like with a Quest Warlock matchup. Monsanto, one of the first people to bring Quest Warlock last year. That's right, Monsanto was so ahead of the curve. Him and ETC both brought a Quest Warlock, and it performed pretty badly. But it was a funny idea. And at the time, we thought that it was so revolutionary, and it turns out it was. It was way before its time, as looks like Empanizado will be queuing up that rogue to try and beat that Warlock.
Yep, and so we'll get a chance right off the bat to see how the rogue performs, and looks like it is not really the rogue that deals a little bit more with the secrets in this particular case.
Yeah, this one's a stealth package-oriented one with Spy Mistress and just getting you a lot more pressure. I personally am falling more out of love with this because of the prevalence of cards, or rather decks that have access to AoE, like Quest Warlock. The enemy of stealth is random or AoE target cards, so...
definitely something that the Warlock does a lot of.
Yeah.
Your stealth minion can get killed pretty easily.
AoE.
Yeah, exactly. Things like the Boom Pistol Bully, though, I suppose can really make an impact in this matchup if it gets to that point, because not only can you shut down their quest hero power, you can shut down a little bit of draw, too, which makes some of the early mid-game turns a little bit awkward for Warlock. So we'll see how it shakes out. As Empanizado draws a Seal Fate. I think that's not a bad card to be holding in hand in the early game.
Yeah, I think that Monsanto, he's just going to be pretty clear with what he needs to do, get this win, and improve his chance to get better seeding for Division A.
Yep, pretty much. Empanizado has a chance to improve to 4 wins on the season so far in the division.
Yep. Quite an awkward hand. It's a very reactive hand. He's got backstab and seal fates and stuff, but this is actually a very poor opening for Rogue. It's a great opening against another class, though. If he was going up against Demon Hunter, he would be big chillin'. But now I think he might have to seal fate his own hero, because I think he needs to get something started with his hand. He can't just keep passing here. This is not equal playing field if he chooses just the hero power attack and redagger.
Sure.
Many options.
He just get himself the lackeys going, especially with the High Spear and Togbike on the hand. And yeah, he's just going to do it. 3 damage to the base. Finds the Witchy Lackey. Okay.
Yeah, Witchy Lackey, not great. But
Not
at
as
least...
much.
So the thing is, Empanizado's hand can also just completely shore up with one card. That's Galakrond himself, although I guess you can say Kronks. But like you can Witchy Lackey and double praise Galakrond here, for example. Or if you're feeling super spicy, you can Witchy Lackey, Seal Fate, just to get the more expensive card out of your hand. I think I'd like to praise Galakrond though, and I want to maybe consider playing another Lackey and Shadow Stepping it.
Interesting. Wow, you're going all out with this.
Well, what is your hand telling you to do? Your hand's telling you to play Hearthstone Togwaggle and play Lackey stuff. So, for example, this turn you could Kobold your opponent. Well, you can praise Galakrond again. But you can Kobold your opponent, Shadow Step, then have an option to either Shadow Step or play it for the Hearthstone Togwaggle next turn, or save it for Faceless Corruptor.
True.
And both are proper answers, I think.
Ethereal Lackey is always a good card since you find something really useful there to increase the value of the hand.
The only reason why I say that, though, is because Warlock wants you to have cards on the board so they can Mortal Coil and Nether Breath and dump their hand. Like, if you leave them with nothing, they end up just not doing anything.
Yeah, just kind of saving up for that big Abyssal Summoner, basically.
Yeah.
Could establish a Netherwing here, yeah, which seems like the play. You saw Sealed Fate get used already, but we know there's another Sealed Fate in the hand of Empanizado. So it's not...
I really like this Kobold Lackey instead of the Ethereal Lackey. I think a lot of people would have immediately thought about the value of Ethereal Lackey, but what this allows him to do is answer a Crazy Netherwing with Backstab Kobold Lackey, and then either choose again to develop his Faceless Corruptor as 2 4/4s, very hard for Warlock to deal with, or you can just go straight for the treasure right now with Heistbear and Togwaggle.
True.
And I think I favor the Togwaggle because he's already invoked 3 times onto his Galakrond, so if he just finds Galakrond again, he's gonna like guarantee have that 4-card draw for free.
I mean, the fact that you can do this and still clear the dragon out is really, really big.
Yeah, and now Monsanto has to just react to this because the damage is already done in the sense that the treasure's already been obtained.
Right. You've already got the Wondrous Wand. It's going to get cast. You're going to get those cheap spells.
Well, some good news for Monsanto is that Empanizado seems to be willingly taking damage on his own face, which might bring him to a situation where maybe he can just kill Rogue with Burst because Rogue's willingly lowering its own health because it's not respecting that bursting.
That's a possibility, I suppose, yeah. He's got the Nether Breath in hand. He also has the Malagos, so if he can get a little bit more damage done to face, and then ends up with that turn 10, Malagos Soulfire, sometimes you don't need to complete the quest to get wins with this Warlock deck. Looking for a secret.
Yeah, this is a tough one because Plague of Madness is a lot of tempo right now, actually. But, like, you might take too much damage using your own health here. Togwaggle Scheme is so... It's so far in advance planning that it's kind of like Y2K planning. You're, like, stockpiling for something that might ever happen or come to fruition.
Sure.
So, I think based off that elimination... that process of elimination, Empanizado landed on, well, Dirty Tricks at least helps me keep my hand economy high.
Yeah.
It's not great, though.
2-cost minion. All right. Goes 2/2. Establishes a little bit of a board here. A little bit more healing from the Broodmother. So, looking at Monsanto's turn here. Yeah, Rain of Fire seems pretty strong. Clears most of that board. Thinking about it.
So many.
Yeah, the most important thing here for Monsanto, he's seen a lull in the pressure development from Empanizado. More importantly, he didn't play the treasure because he had to spend most of his time reacting. So now is an opportunity to ramp up because your opponent is also going to ramp up in their amount of card draw and board presence.
True.
So take the time for you to power up too here.
It is like Dragon Ball, man. Everyone's powering up.
That's what this Warlock deck is. Nether Breath to the face. Look at that. We're talking about how you might have opportunities just to pressure the Rogue.
Yeah, well, he's certainly doing just that. Obviously, Rogue doesn't have access to a whole lot of healing, so in many cases, the health you take off of them is going to be permanent. There's a Kronks, though. Ooh, but does that really do much for you right now?
Actually, this is kind of hard to think because you haven't fully invoked Galakron.
You do. You've got but you've also got access to things like the Wondrous Wand, but you're also down to 12 health as well. He's going to go for the Wand.
Yeah, the Wand's just super powerful in tempo. Moon Pistol Bully looks really good in this spot. I think he first wants to evaluate his Miscreant options.
Yep. Okay, Goblin Lackey. That could pair well with any of the minions that he has that cost 0 off of the Wand.
Yeah, the really scary thing is that you could be power loading onto this board and then walk straight into a Twisting Nether.
Well, that's the thing. It is the 8 mana turn coming up for Monsanto. Is it a risk that Empanizado is willing to take here?
Nobody move.
Doesn't look like it.
I definitely think we should at least extend some on the board. You can talk me out of maybe playing all these minions, but I think at least one of them is important.
Sure.
And Monsanto is, he's been ramping up his card draw a lot and playing reactively. Makes me feel like it is likely he has AoE in the hand.
Yeah, well, Dark Skies, not going to be enough to clear this. He does have 2 of them.
What I like about this play, though, is that Empanizado presents a pretty intimidating board. And there could be a scenario where, because Monsanto, if in the event Monsanto is not able to clear off the board, can push a lot of damage and maybe use cards like Kronks to lethal if he ends up somehow, top decking a Galakron in this position.
Sure, yeah. He's also got that 0 mana Eviscerate, which is just kind of a cool, potentially 4 damage to push through at the end. Can use both Dark Skies to clear this.
Yeah.
It's Monsanto. He's got a strong late game, so might as well just kind of take that pressure off.
So I think this is the position where you do want to Kronks.
I think so too, yeah.
You could talk me also into Faceless Corruptor, but I think those are really good to use when your opponent's playing bigger things like the Abyssal Summoner or perhaps an Aranesi Broodmother. And you can use Kronks afterwards. Plus, it's clear that you've drawn half your deck, and Galakron is a really important card in this dynamic of the matchup right now. And if you don't draw the Galakron soon, all this invocation was for nothing.
All right, decides to go with the Kronks, throws up the dirty tricks for a little bit more drawing as well. Yeah, Galakron will be the play. And a lot of options for Monsanto.
Okay. Monsanto is actually very close to lethal if his Zephyrs is active. His Zephyrs is not, but the Crazed Netherwing puts his opponent down to 9.
Yeah.
And you have options very soon to just shut down your opponent. Also, he has to keep in mind that there is a secret now. So if he does play a minion, he might be invoking Ambush.
True. You don't want that to run into any of your big dragons or anything like that.
So I'm definitely liking the removal of Kronks in some capacity here. Probably Keladon is the first thing that jumps to mind, because it's just easy to remove. If you go for Sense Demons and you see that the secret is activated through Dirty Tricks, you can also just Keladon pretty confidently.
True, yeah. Monsanto, though, struggling with it. What's it going to be? Does he discard one if he Sense Demons here?
I don't believe so, because he does
lose
correct,
one. I thought so. Yeah.
I thought it was I thought he was not going to draw any other demon.
Sure.
But, if you run out, you only get the worthless imps if you have hand space for it.
Yeah.
What I was.
Still had that second Morg to draw, which got burnt, unfortunately. Well, it's going to be backstab into Galakron or Empanizado.
And Monsanto knows that the burst plan with Zephyrs is less likely to happen because he knows Galakron is in the hand. Oh, jeez.
Oh, another Eviscerate. That's actually a lot of burst.
That's 2-turn lethal setup here.
Yeah, it sure is.
Spy Mistress is the key here. If Monsanto doesn't have an answer to it, which he does in the form of the Acidic Swamp Ooze, but this 5 damage goes upstairs, and now Monsanto has 8 from the hand. with potential more upside with Ethereal Lackey.
Yeah. Feral Cat, and let's see what he gets out of it. All right. Not too helpful right now, but like you said, that Spy Mistress, if it gets through, could be big. So, what does Monsanto have here to try to handle this? He's got another dragon. He's got a plot twist.
Zephyrus is active.
Yep.
So is Dragon Queen Alex Straza. Doesn't have the hand space for it. He can start things off with Mortal Coil if he wants to draw first and having full information before he commits to any play. He could also play a little bit riskier. He could Craze Netherwing, Morag Artificer, Mortal Coil, and then he has enough mana for Acidic Swamp Ooze. He'd be down to 13, but he removes everything on the board, develops his own, and removes his opponent's weapon.
Yeah.
So that looks what like the play is to me here.
Looks like he might be thinking the same thing. It's a little bit scary to go down to 13 health against the rogue, and that might come back to haunt him. But with the weapon out of the way, maybe it'll be enough.
Right. I mean, it's 13, but it's a hard 13 because the board's cleared. If you were at 16, but your opponent has like a 3-1 on the board, it's effectively the same thing, but your opponent has even more power to potentially destroy you.
All right, the draw is another Pharaoh Cat. So is there a way to put down the damage here? He's got 8 from hand with the Eviscerates. Let's see what spell he gets.
Center Strike is 3 more. And if he gets a Lackey, he just wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
He only needs 1 more damage.
There's 2 Cobalt Lackeys that he can get here.
No, doesn't find one there.
Yeah, you can find a Charger through a Witchy Lackey.
True.
I think...
What's the higher chance?
It's probably 4 mana, because you can get Kane, and you can get, like, Kor'kron Elite. There's, I believe, fewer charge minions at 2. Yeah, there's Kane at 4. And Kor'kron Elite, and then at 2, it's purely Bluegill Warrior. Oh, 4 also has Stormwind Knight.
Yeah. Well, that is not a charge. That is a Chillwind Yeti. Classic card returns.
So now I think Empanizado has to probably just remove the board here. I don't think you... I guess you could sap the Netherwing. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he might do that. He's fine with this because if Monsanto uses it again, that's just worth, that's just 3 more damage to him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, big
Brood
heal
Mother.
here for Monsanto.
Yeah. He doesn't know just how big it is. Like I don't think anyone would expect their opponent to have the double eviscerate Sinister Strike in the hand at this point.
Well, I think he could at least narrow down maybe 1 eviscerate. Why would you play Treasure and Galakron and not play their 0 mana cards for this long? It must be because you're holding it for a special occasion. Like, that was also another board where if he had, like, free minions like Devoted Maniac, he'd absolutely play it. So I think that in Monsanto's mind, he actually can narrow down to things like Eviscerates as a most likely candidate of being held onto it.
So that being the case, he's going to go ahead and craze Netherwing anyway. And plot twist for a bit more healing.
Plot twist for me healing, for a response, maybe a definitive way to end this game. Oh, wow, 2 heals.
Finishes the quest. That's big too.
Empanizado.
Nether Breath. Oh, Nether Breath is so nice for that Yeti as well. He can't play it this turn though, can he?
He can, but he really wants the hero power first because he needs to get like a huge decisive tempo swing. He finds the Abyssal Summoner. That is a big one.
All right. Is there any way for Empanizado to do it? Oh, he draws a Flick.
Wait.
Huh. So Flick, what's 4? So you can take him down to 18.
That's not...
Is he 1 lackey away again? Wait.
No, he's got
3,
11 from
11.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's 7 off right
11 plus 4 on the board, theoretically. So 15. Yeah.
Okay, so
7 away.
Empanizado probably has the hero power here first. I guess he could also Pharaoh Cat to start things off. If he wants to play full mana expenditure cleanly, though, and start getting other resources out of his hand, he would play Flick and Devoted Maniac. That seems kind of weak to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, are you leaving a minion on the board that way, too?
You are.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing here, unless you want to use eviscerates not for lethal, which I don't think is correct.
That's the scary thing, too, because at this point, any damage could result in a lethal. Oh, no. Wow.
It's true. You bring up a good point. Maybe leaving up that 2/2 is still going to give him...
Yeah. I mean, 9 damage from hand at 10 mana is not hard to find as a Quest Warlock.
Right. Monsanto's 1 damage, or sorry, 1 card off from lethal here.
Yeah. Just looking for that Malagos, yeah.
He also could just play straight up Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Finds Malagos!
Oh, it's a free Malagos, and that's it. Nether Breath, Soulfire, Malagos buffing everything, and that's game number 1. Going to Monsanto.
Big win. Quest Warlock getting it over the hump over the Galakron Rogue, and kind of talking about how the Rogue sometimes can just fizzle out, and it totally did. He was very close. He had an opportunity to find that Kobold Lackey, and just with that Evil Miscreant was not able to. So yeah, very close, but at the same time, it felt really far because of that huge heal from Warlock.
Well, that brings us back to the earlier point where, is it NA struggling because with this deck because of their play, or is it just the lackeys? That game, it was just the lackeys, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I feel like there was some other opportunities potentially for Empanizado to be a little bit more aggressive, but then he might have also committed way over the may have overextended, and then Warlock would have blown him out. So I'd have to go back and review some of those plays more in depth.
Let NA have the lackey excuse. I think that's the important thing. We're great. NA players are great with Rogue. It's just the lackeys don't like us as much here. That's all.
All right. Well, we'll give a temporary break for those lackeys because that brings us to our next intermission. After a few minutes, we're going to be returning and playing game number 2 between Monsanto and Empanizado. Stay tuned. You're watching Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
This is a serious question.
Who comes up with these questions?
TJ.
Of course.
I'd honestly probably die in a zombie apocalypse. I'm not a fast runner.
Who's the buffest GM? Oh man, I don't even know. I guess Delay is probably the buffest GM. Is he?
I don't take Bloody Face because his name doesn't inspire me in that situation.
Right off the bat, I want to take Kalento. He seems like he's like a really cool, calm, collected guy in a crisis. He's Ukrainian, so he's already kind of probably pretty badass and tough, just going off that. I'd want to take Zalay. He's a good friend of mine, so I love hanging out with him. He works out, so he'd probably beat up some zombies. I think I'll go with Purple. He's another really good friend of mine. He lives in Canada. We could maybe retreat somewhere in Canada, and maybe the zombies are nicer there, because it's Canada. Everyone's nice there, even the zombies.
Monsanto, Gallon, and Firebat. Gallon's a smart, bright lad who can help me stay alive, and I need some bait, so Firebat Monsanto would help with that.
So I would take Monsanto because he always makes me laugh with his deadpan humor. I take Eddie because he's like always super positive. And I'll take Kalento because he'll probably scare the zombies away with his seriousness.
Bunny Hopper as a nurse, 100%. You don't want someone to break the humor, so I'm taking Casey. Probably Frozen, or actually, sorry, excuse me, Frodan. I guess he's not a Grandmaster, but he's in shape. You need a Chad in the group, and Frodan is definitely Hearthstone's version of the Chad.
Hearthstone Grandmasters continues with game number 2 between Monsanto and Empanizado. We are on the final matches of the round robin group stage before we enter the playoffs and the relegation brackets, and also final salute to those who automatically get relegated. We already gave our closing words for Papa Jason yesterday.
Yep.
And wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, he continues to compete, or, good luck in his future endeavors, whatever he chooses to do. And for Monsanto, it could be also the beginning of the end for him, but how can he best position himself for success? If he gets a win here and now Gadon loses, he's guaranteed that 7th spot. Otherwise, we have to go to tiebreakers and find out who gets that 7th seed in the Division A. And I think that's what's in the forefront of Monsanto's mind. And it's been kind of sad, quite frankly, to read Monsanto's timeline on his Twitter feed, because he's been giving so much effort towards Grandmasters. Monsanto put in, I think he said, like 80 hours in a week, which I would probably say is over-preparing at that point.
Yeah, there is such a thing as too much. And, as far as what is effective preparation for each person is different, but there is definitely such a thing as, like, burning yourself out and, going a little bit overboard in terms of prep, which can have a negative effect. You can kind of get in your head a little bit too much. You can make yourself fatigued. But it is tough. It's a tough position for Monsanto to be in. At least he was able to win game number 1 in this match against Empanizado. And like you mentioned, if he wins this series, he at least does as much as he can to put himself in the best spot to survive relegations.
Yeah, and I think that, he's still showing up and still putting his best effort in. But I can totally understand his frustrations, because you put in a lot of effort. And it's, games of variance can be cruel. You can put in all the time and effort, and it just all blows up in your face because things just go bad one beat after another.
That is true.
And so a lot of times, oh wow, Edwin in the hand.
Could be a
with
big
a coin
Edwin.
and a shadow step.
I was gonna say,
my God.
Yeah, this is it's looking like a strong start theoretically for Monsanto right now. Obviously, Demon Hunter is a deadly opponent. Thinking about what he wants to play here.
So many options.
Is there any world where you would never coin into one of these 2-drops, right? You kind of need to save that for Van Cleef, don't you?
Yes. So the problem is that,
oh boy, I mean,
if he doesn't, he's missing out on a lot of tempo with Shadow Jewel, Hanar, and Ambush.
Exactly. So that's the question.
Yeah. I think that part of it is that if his opponent didn't have a 1-drop, I think he would play Pharaoh Cat, and then Pharaoh Cat, Shadow Step, Pharaoh Cat, Coin, Edwin. And then also because of exactly the card being drawn here. Excuse me. I get so emotional over Frozen Shadow Weaver. It's just such a powerful card. Gets me all going.
I understand that.
Yeah.
You'd think it would freeze your heart, but it does the opposite.
Right. So while traditionally that Edwin draw would always make you play it, I think this also has room for merit, which is the Shadow of Hanar into the sea.
It just doesn't it feel enormously risky though to put that Hanar out there, where Demon Hunter does have a lot of ability to produce 2 more damage from hand, even on a turn 2 like this. I mean, you think about a Chaos Strike, that'd just be a dead Hanar, right? But at least that's 4 damage that is not going to your face, so there is that. Okay, so Hanar lives. Monsanto has a chance to play this ambush here.
Yeah, and also he has a second play too besides his ambush. He can Shadow Step his Hanar, which is actually another thing worth considering. Okay.
Right. No, I had to mute because I had to sneeze, man. What's going on with us? Oh my gosh. Are we allergic to Monsanto versus Empanizado?
On the contrary, it so deeply resonates within my soul that I can't help but tears just start to excrete from my eyes.
Wow. You don't often get to say the word excrete on esports broadcasts, but you found a way. There you go.
Well, that's the benefit. You're coming over from Overwatch to Hearthstone. You get to say whatever you want, except not really.
Wonderful. Snake Trap. Okay. I like Snake Trap in this matchup. A lot of 1-drops can certainly help you handle the board against Demon Hunters. That's a cool pickup, actually, from Monsanto. So, you got to deal with the Hanar here, right?
Yeah, I'm looking to see what secrets are in Monsanto's deck list. Does he have any Bamboozle? Which, again, I don't anticipate given the questing adventure builds. Yes,
Sure.
it doesn't look like he has a Bamboozle, so that is one thing you don't have to worry about. The Ambush versus the Dirty Tricks is a little bit complicated here for Monsanto because I think he wants to develop a 3-drop and play Twin Slice, and both of those plays involve him activating a secret.
Right. Empanizado trying to figure out if he wants to play this Volpera Scoundrel or if he wants to establish perhaps the Umberwing. What is the secret? I think that kind of is the crux of what he's trying to figure out. Trying to find it out that way.
Oh, wow. So he says, the way I avoid all of them is to just play Umberwing.
I guess so. That is true.
And, honestly, this is still fine because the Umberwing develops 2 power onto the board. Volpera Scoundrel does the same. And Frozen Shadow Eater still has a lot of utility in the event that your opponent does things like a big Vanclave. So,
yeah,
I think this is okay. It does seem a lot weaker than the alternatives,
So
though.
many options.
Well, it all kind of depends on how high of a chance you think you have to have your board stick around a little bit, right?
Well, if he played Frozen Shadow Weaver, he would see an ambush, and then he could just Twin Slice and react to that.
True.
While having more power developed onto the board. So that was my first thought.
I think that's pretty reasonable. Blackjack Stunner, there's a Snake Trap.
Yeah.
That'll Mage back in the hand.
This is now even more complicated for Empanizado because of the threat of Snake Trap and Explosive Trap. Both of those dynamics are extremely punishing for choosing incorrectly here.
Right.
And also Monsanto has the Pharaoh Cat Shadow Step Edwin next turn, which is super nasty.
So far, so good for Monsanto. But what is Empanizado's thought process going to be as far as how to handle these secrets? This is one of the things that I really like about the secret package for this rogue deck is that because you're oftentimes getting secrets from different classes, the complexity in terms of your opponent's decision making just goes through the roof. It's really hard to make the right decision every time. Or any of the time.
Yeah, so this is like one of the issues with playing conservative around secrets. When TJ was broadcasting in previous weeks, some people were popping secrets as soon as they could.
Sure.
And TJ was saying, I want them to not activate it, but then the problem becomes that there's just a lot of latent power that's generated behind the secrets, because now you've established that you're not going to trade to these minions ever.
Sure.
Except now an ambush comes out and challenges everything, and so... Oh boy,
Whoa.
does not get the attacks off?
That's what I'm wondering now, yeah. Looks like he did. Okay,
he did.
Sure. He's going to face with everything, why not?
Yeah, and now Monsanto gets to clean up the board. He gets to actually Shadow Step his Blackjack Stunner. He picks up a backstab. This is a lot of opportunity here for Monsanto. He has several plays at his disposal. He doesn't even have to play Edwin this turn. He can play Evil Miscreant instead.
That's the thing, but do you want to play that Evil Miscreant? It feels like this is the turn to develop Edwin, although you are going into the possible Bladebound Adept turn as well, so you're maybe a little bit hesitant unless you're sure you can make that Edwin very large. Well, that's a big minion, the Reborn one.
Yeah, I think the Edwin this turn should come out, just because it threatens you to put your opponent on a clock, and they have to answer it. And then your opponent won't be able to interact with it unless they have Frozen Shadow Weaver. So I like it. I like Shadow Stepping the Blackjack Stunner because the secrets are still up.
Right.
You can use it right now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Chances are his secret might get popped anyway, so this is him evaluating it.
Sure, and like you wonder like how worth is it really to send a 1/1 back in the hand when you can grab a Colossus of the Moon instead?
Sure.
All right, now Big Edwin isn't the only 10/10 on the block, but at least he's the one out on turn 4. That's nice.
Yeah, and that's a world of difference.
Yeah.
Monsanto actually has no activator for his Evil Miscreant. I think that's a pretty unfortunate thing, but at the same time, he's gotten really good hand to this point of the game.
Right. You don't often see Demon Hunters get to keep this large of a hand to this point in the game, too. Part of it is the Blazing Battle Mage being sent back there, but still, he's gotten to save things like the Twin Strike and the Chaos Strike. or Twin Slice in the Chaos Strike until now.
Right.
So I suppose you got the freeze for Van Cleef. You are still a little bit worried about the Hunter's Secret.
Yeah, the problem with the Frozen Shadow Weaver is that there's the threat of the ambush minion, so now if he activates the Snake Trap, Frozen Shadow Weaver has to come out here. He can't even answer all these 1/1s to give himself the chance to answer Edwin, so this is just a temporary stopgap.
Yeah, he needs to find something much stronger. Seal of Fate. Oh, that's so clean. On the Frozen Shadow Weaver. Finds a Titanic Lackey as well. It is looking a bit dire right now for Empanizado in this game. That said, he's still got some cards in his hand. I mean, what do you think could make a difference here? Maybe an Altruist draw? I mean, everything is kind of like, well, he can handle that, but what about Van Cleef? What do you want if you're Empanizado right now?
I want Volpera's Scoundrel to give me some way, like a silence card for Edwin.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is the play. Yeah, I think that's like pretty much what I think should be played here.
Fair enough.
If you were to pick the ideal cards. Right now, obviously, he would rather be able to play Skull Dan for free, but he can't. He can play these cards for tempo, so we could Acidic Swampoos and Beaming Sidekick. Nothing too impressive.
Yeah. The Swampoos, I suppose, has to come down. And at least he's a little bit more resilient versus these 1 damage minions. 1/2 and the 1/1. But it's awkward, and it looks like it might be time to just go to the races with this. Right, just burn your opponent down before they do. But we know Titanic Lackey in the hand.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Wow.
Even a Dirty Tricks for a little bit of hand refill later on.
Are the chances to get 2 Titanic Lackeys?
The
when
eternal
you already have
question.
seen one. Yeah.
Yeah. Alex Straza basically just says that, hey, if you somehow get me down to low health, I can just go right back up to 15 again.
Yeah, he's kind of just like making sure to think about how he can hedge against like Altruist or anything else.
Sure.
Honestly, I think there is value of holding on to this Titanic Lackey. You're such a dominant position that you're gonna win next turn likely anyways. You have 15 showing just with this board.
You're also a rogue, so you can find some damage from hand, and if things do go poorly, you want to be able to put that Titanic Lackey on one of your other big high health minions coming up. Metamorphosis. Does this change anything?
Not really. I think he has to go for a Skull Dan here.
Yeah, it seems that way.
It would. He doesn't even have enough mana to do anything except for the Volpera Scoundrel cheese.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna do it here.
Yep. No way to get rid of the Edwin without taking a bunch of damage yourself. And that is it.
2-0 for Monsanto.
Early lead for Monsanto in a series that we've said is really vital for him to give himself the best chance to survive in Grandmasters.
Yep, and Monsanto just has to win with Demon Hunter, which is proving to be a very easy task, as most people have agreed that bringing Demon Hunter is just what you should be doing, even if it does have matchups it can lose.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and overall it feels like Monsanto is in a very good position because I personally like Demon Hunter versus Tempo Rogue, or rather Galacon Rogue, because Rogue has to draw well, while the average draw from Demon Hunter seems to be very good. That being said, it does seem like Rogue can compete with Demon Hunter, as you can see.
Yeah, if you get that really good hand with all of those really cheap spells early on, if you can make that big Edwin while at the same time controlling the board. We did see him get the benefit of finding something like Snake Trap as well. So there was kind of some extra stuff that you don't normally see in your average, Rogue versus Demon Hunter matchup that helped him along a little bit there. But, that's not to say that Empanizado can't find the same thing. You never know.
You never truly know. In Hearthstone, it's never over till the last cards have been played.
Yeah, it's going to be the Warlock, though, from Empanizado this time. Which is, on paper, in theory, a better matchup, I suppose, into the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, This is actually a really tricky mulligan, because this looks like a really good hand in a curve. Like, by all means, it feels like at first glance, snap call, would you like keep all 4? And I think a lot of people would start to think yes, but I feel like this hand could get a lot better if you just find a more consistent early game of any kind, whether it's Umbra Wing or Satyr Overseer or something else. Because I think Volpera Scoundrel is better in the late game.
Yeah, so would you toss maybe like one of the Battle Mages and one of the Scoundrels? Or would you just toss the Scoundrel?
I think I would toss Scoundrel and Kane. Oh, wow, he's
gonna
full
toss all of it?
mulligans.
Wow.
Wow, that's super aggressive. Super duper aggressive. And he's not rewarded for it.
I was going to say, I'm a bit shocked by that. You'd think you'd at least want to keep one Blazing Battle Mage.
I was definitely tied to the idea of playing, at least holding on to one Battle Mage. Because if you do pick up Battle Fiend, you could at least go coin out 2 1-drops and try to pressure. But in his mind, maybe Monsanto says that I need more power cards. You know, cards like Warglaives of Azeroth and Glaive Out of Depth. This is actually really curious to me, and I'm going to look up some data real quick.
Well, if you're going to go for power cards in this matchup where you want to, get by taunts in the mid game to deal the finishing blow, Kane is such a vital part of that. Except the Glaive-bound Adept is going to develop the Umbra Wing this turn. But the pace does seem to be a bit slowed in terms of the early game damage coming in from Monsanto. Sense Demons seems pretty good for Empanizado right now. You can just tap, it's just not mana efficient.
Yeah. It seems like generally, like in this matchup, you just want cards like Battle Fiend. It makes it really powerful for you. To get off to a good start.
We're with you.
I am really intrigued by it.
It's interesting. So Monsanto does get a nice Satyr turn down right before you would have the opportunity to Netherwing or something like that. And there's no Dark Skies or anything like that in the hand of Empanizado right now, so his ability to handle this is limited. Even tapping into like a Rain of Fire can't be paired with like a Morg Artifice or anything right now, so he might just kind of have to take some damage here.
Yeah, I think this is a worthy candidate of being submitted to Gio's Mull It Over, because I think that this is a really interesting decision.
Yeah.
But anyways, not to tunnel too much onto that, because every way I've sliced the data indicates that Battle Mage is one of the highest win rate cards to keep in your opening hand here in any matchup, but also Warlock.
You think so?
This start from Monsanto has led to him having a pretty sizable board, and no Dark Skies, no AoE, only Soulfire is his removal tool, and I think he has to consider using it here. The good news is that it's not like he's going to be discarding a card he's going to play next turn.
Yep, well, Kil'dan would have been nice later on, but then again, maybe that's not the most impactful in the matchup. We will see. But either way, nothing but strong stuff for Monsanto throughout here. He could go for that coin in the Glaive-bound Adept as well. Get another Satyr on there.
That was a ton of information just being given right now. One, no AoE, so no Dark Skies.
Right.
No Dark Skies equals Clear Skies. Second is that if he does have a Netherwing, Netherwing can't kill the Glaive-bound Adept. And then he also just used Soulfire instead of like Moarg Artificer and Mortal Coil or using anything else like that.
Right. You know, I really like, honestly, the Blowtorch Saboteur in Monsanto's deck as well as a nice tech against Warlock to prevent the tap or prevent the completed hero power.
Oh, jeez.
There's a plot twist, but man, you really need... I guess you could plot twist into Dark Skies, but still, that's a 4 health minion in the Glaive-bound Adept, so you're not going to clear everything.
Yes. If you plot twist, you have 7 cards in your hand. Dark Skies only does deal 7, and there's 8 on the board. So
Exactly.
you are correct. There's a high likelihood it survives.
Now, there's also a likelihood that, well, there's the Dark Skies, but there's a chance that only like one of the 1/1s lives.
Oh no. He draws the Nether Breath, but it doesn't look like he has a dragon.
So you have to go Dark Skies here, don't you? You're at 18 health. You're looking at 10 more damage on the board. You can probably clear most of it.
You could also gamble. What's the average time you're going to draw a dragon with Mortal Coil in here?
That's a good point. He's got, what, 4 in his deck, I suppose? 2 Kray's Netherwings. Alexstrasza, Dragon Queen, 5. So you've got Malagos as well. So
5 out of 18. Is that the odds you have to take in order to try to come back? He's going for it.
Yeah, he's trying it.
Doesn't find it.
Zephyrus.
He's so dead. Oh my god.
Zephyrus may know what you need, but he is not what you need.
Oh.
But yeah, that's going to be a lot of damage. Should be, what, 8 from hand is what he needs?
Yeah, he's not dead yet, but this is going to be super painful.
He's nearly dead, actually. It's very close. Because he's got another 6, well, it's 5 from hand plus the hero power, so 6 plus 10. So he's only 2 off right now from finishing this.
Yep. He's very close.
Yeah. But now you're in that situation where it's like, oh man, all right, so it's so tempting to push for the win. But at the same time, you're like, if I go too far, I'm going to barely not kill him. He's going to come back, and then I'm going to lose. So it's,
I mean, there's still a chance for Empanizado to come back.
There's always a chance for the Quest Warlock. Game's on a knife's edge right now.
Okay.
Malagos. There's the dragon.
That's huge.
Yeah. Nether Breath is online now. 4 mana to play around with after that. So you still can't clear the board completely. Well, I guess if you use Rain of Fire and Dark Skies after your Nether Breath, you can, but that's a lot. You are at 8 health. The other consideration is, do you save room for a plot twist in here because you want to maybe gain a little bit more health from drawing the Brood Mothers?
I'm looking for even alternative plays to clear off the entire board. If he Nether Breaths and Dark Skies, I think there's a 50-50 chance that he clears off the board or loses everything, or leaves up a Frozen Shadow Weaver likely.
Right.
So he's just going to take the Conservative Route. Looks like the plot twist is what comes out here.
Well, this is interesting too, because he'll plot twist, draw 5 more cards. So you've got a chance to heal, because both Brood Mothers are still in his deck, so it's pretty likely. And he finishes the quest, so I really like this turn, actually. There we go. Back up to 20 health.
Oh my gosh, he was down to 8.
Yeah. How many times have we seen this, though? This Warlock deck is so resilient.
Yeah, never mind. I was calling it early. I was like, he's super dead. I guess he's not.
Not yet.
Yeah, I was kind of anticipating Empanizado or Monsanto rather, to just get so far ahead on board, but that double Nether Breath, activating off that Malagos, the 5 cards of the 16 or 17 cards that he had.
Right.
Super important.
Now, Monsanto definitely has a chance to come back. It's still not the strongest board on his opponent's side, and as we know, there's no AoE clear available for Empanizado. Zephyrs will not be active.
Oh, what?
Huh. Some interesting choices here. Twin Slice.
I mean,
we see players pick Skull all the time, and it never seems to help. So,
but this is a matchup where I think Skull actually does make sense, because it tends to go on a lot longer.
Do you want it to, though? I guess you do. I mean, everybody picks Skull, but I feel like I never see this work out. Maybe I'm about to be proven wrong.
I think in this type of matchup, it makes a lot of sense. I think in like the Demon Hunter mirror, it's 50-50 because it's so fast-paced that like chances are you might not even get a chance to cast it because you're just trying to not die. And if you do cast it, you're trying to like Hail Mary.
I think a lot of times the Skull is a bait, and the Skull of Gul'dan representing the blood of Manoroth that Gul'dan himself offered the orcs of Draenor, which ultimately was negative for them. So what I'm saying is don't pick it all the time.
I understood some words of that sentence, but
oh, somebody out there got it.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it because I don't have any raids planned for tonight.
It's time you learned a bit more Warcraft lore, Frodan. You've been doing Hearthstone for how long?
A little bit, a couple of years or so.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Almost out of time.
You need to learn. Maybe I should quiz you. Maybe whenever I pop up on these broadcasts every once in a while, I'll quiz you on your Warcraft lore knowledge. I can tell you're thrilled. Because you're speechless.
I am ecstatic, Noah. I am unable to summon the words.
I'll be prepared. But you are not prepared.
Oh, that's an Illidan reference. I get it.
Oh, there you go. Hey, well, good job. You passed the first test.
Thank you. I can stay. So Monsanto has to dump either from the left or the right side to get the Skull Gul'dan. Generally, it's easier to dump from the left side of your hand because, well, I mean, you don't get to control what's on the right side at all, but you can kind of control the left.
Right. Time to build.
Monsanto, does he want to push his damage to face? I think so. He's so close to lethal. Putting 4 into this questing explorer, which you're kind of anticipating your Satyr Overseer to die anyways.
Just go to face.
No,
this is the
this has to
agony,
be right?
This is the agony of this matchup, right? Where you come so close so often, but it's so hard to just push through all the way. But no AoE. Oh no, what is? He's got to draw something big. That's big. Kray's Netherwing. Although it does leave him at just 5 health if he uses it.
He's dead if he plays it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be very honest here. He's dead no matter how he chooses to go because the Twin Slices and the Kane Sun Fury is
definitely the case.
7 damage from the hand plus the hero power, so he had it always. Monsanto 3-0, convincing victory over Empanizado, and now puts it on Nalgidan to win. Otherwise, Monsanto will be the 7th place finisher in Division A.
Yeah, props to Monsanto though. You know, he did everything he possibly could to benefit himself. He's given himself the best shot to get the best record possible. So his job is done. Now he just needs to sit back and watch what happens with Nalgidan.
That's right. That's right. So purple is PNC and Firebat's matchup is still the matchup that we're looking at the end of the day. But these matches, Monsanto versus Empanizado and Nalgidan versus Bloodyface, both have implications on the standings as well, as we've been alluding to. So Monsanto, very clean victory. I'm sure he can at least be happy that he ended his round robin on a high note. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and that brings us to the conclusion of our 3rd series, which means that we have 2 more left. Nalgidan versus Bloodyface, as mentioned, and the big finale, Firebat versus BNC, determine who gets relegated from Grandmasters.
Yeah, our last game of Division A and then our last game of Division B right in a row. We've had some pretty quick ones. 3-0 for Eddie early on, 3-0 for Monsanto just now. But the fireworks begin with our next match, I think.
Yep. So with that, we are entering halftime. This is going to be our extended break of the broadcast, but the last one of the week. After about 7 to 10 minutes or so, somewhere in between, we're going to get ready for match number 4 between Nalgidan and Bloodyface, and then wrap it up. And then just like that, another regular season is in the books. So with that, Doe and I will take that brief intermission. We'll be back soon with more Hearthstone Grandmasters action, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
Hello and welcome to another